Hi, my name is Kevin. I come from Copenhagen and I work in a Danish media company called Gom Larsen Sony, where I mostly do front end, but also back end, Node.js. But in this presentation, I will show you how Firebase works, which is essentially a backend as a service. I'm not affiliated with Firebase as you could think, but I just think it's a very cool product, and I'm using for myself when I prototype, and it has to go really fast. Because nowadays, like when your boss says, "Hey, can you make this app?" and it has to be real time. It has a backend. It has to use Facebook Connect for integrating easy login, and you have to do it tomorrow. So, but this is, I think, Firebase solves this problem in a good way. You get very fast started, but of course there's some complication later on when you do most things from the front end. So, but again, yes, this was I'm going to solve in this presentation, like real time in no time, single page application and Facebook Line. But what is Firebase? It's basically they implemented Socket. Has anybody tried Socket.io? Then you probably know that's just the start of it, because then you have to, like, it's very easy also to get started with Socks.js, which is and fallback for Socket if you don't support that. But they have implemented that in also a nice way, and they use MongoDB for data store. So if everybody is familiar with that, you can probably guess how they store the data, which is in JSON. And they also have made an easy way to use OAuth with multiple providers such as Twitter and Facebook. So, but how does Firebase structure the data? But they, as I said, they use MongoDB, but it all based around URLs. So you get a start URL, which you choose yourself, and it is .firebase.io.com. And then you get here, you can see here, if you started with this, myapp.firebase.com, you would get all your collections. And if you append users, you will get your user collection. And again, if you append a username, you will get a specific user. You decide yourself how you want to structure it, but it's basically just collections or maybe objects. Yeah, I don't know if it doesn't scale more.
But you should go into presentation mode. Go up to the top menu that you can't see right now.
Oh. Presentation.
Firefox.
In Firefox.
Now I'm in the way again. Isn't there a menu here? And then oh, sorry. Yeah, I seem like a total jerk. Here you go. Now I think it's a little bigger.
A little big. No, but I hope everybody can see on the screen. But also, like, if you wanted to read all your users, like displayed in the list, how you would do it with Firebase would, like, say you would make a new Firebase reference to the users, and remember to use the user in your Firebase URL. And then it would be like a Mendivitor. If you had tried like Node.js, it would be like it fires for all the times there's a user in this collection. So you will get like it's basically an object. So it would also have the name. It would be Kevin Simper if I'm the user, and all my details would be in the data, the snapshot value. Writing data. You can also write data, but you will, like in your object in JavaScript, you can use an object, but you will have to give it a name, like a hash table. But here, Firebase made a function called push. So it would push to the collection, but it would give it a unique name, so it would not it will not collide with any of your other objects. And updating data is just a set function, so very easy, and you just pass an object or JSON, and it does it itself. But where it sounds like a lot of work still. You have to do the updating, the manual, the pushing to Firebase and such. So where is the fast prototyping they also made so here what you do is basically a starter Angular app for if you want to make another to-do app. So you would make a to-do list, which is just an array, and you will do an add to-do, which is just push to this array. So, and you would make an index and you would list over it. So just a basic Angular app, but nothing persists. So every time you refresh, your data would disappear. So how would you store your to-dos in Firebase? That's very easy. You make a factory, and it's the Angular way. If you don't know Angular, they put different things, so you can reference from multiple controllers instead of initiating them every time. But here you would create a Firebase, a normal reference from the Firebase library, but they then made a Firebase Angular. They called Angular Fire. Yeah, clever. but then you got your to-dos, what you can reference in your to-do controller. So it would look something like this. You would just reference your to-dos and then set them to-do list, and then it would be very easy. You can just loop over the to-dos. And they also, in the Firebase, Angular Fire, they added this add function, which is just, I think it's an implementation of Angular. So they push to the Firebase collection. But here again, we still have to do a little bit of work because we have to add, and if you wanted to delete it, would have to delete to do and such. So it's not that fast yet, but we have persistent backend now. So if you wanted to do it very fast, it's still not fast enough. And you do not have to learn new APIs, and you would do like they also made a bind. So you would do to-dos, bind, and the scope, and what you wanted to your variable to be. And then Angular Fire would do the synchronization, the deleting, the updating for every time you receive a push or socket updates from the API. And then you would do like just a normal. So it should have been to do here, but scopes to do and push to the to do array. So there would be multiple to all the clients who would has this to do factory. So now we basically has an app which has persistent backend, which is real time, and we can do Facebook login. But how does we do this Facebook login? Because this is all done in the front end, so you would say what does prevent everybody else from deleting or such, or like saying going to the same page and just set the root object to nothing? It would basically delete all your data. So we need some kind of authenticating. But since we don't have a backend, we don't have a trusted source to ensure that who you say you are, and it's basically who you are. So Firebase also has this solution for OAuth, for Facebook, such. So you will create a Firebase for your Firebase again. You use URL for everything, and then you will set the scope off to they made a Firebase simple again, and then pass the reference. And then in your control now, you would basically have auth login and auth logout, and you can choose like Twitter and Facebook, and you have to in the dashboard on of your Firebase, you would have to paste in your app ID and secret, and then Firebase would do the redirecting and communicating between Facebook and such. But that's very that would log into your Facebook, and it would make a new in the auth scope. It would make a username, a display name, and such. So you have the reference for when you save data to Firebase. You know these data is coming from Facebook, so you can, you know, they wouldn't change, and so you can like say, sure later, but they have a way to ensure that people don't override things they doesn't have the privilege to. So what about security? Firebase has made this. Some say clever, some say don't. It's not clever, but they made a way to define which things can be updated, which things cannot, by making an object which, as you can see here, passes to every collection. So if you made, like we saw before, uses, you can say like thread. It's possible to write to thread because it evaluates to true. So you would write expressions that would either evaluate to true or false, and you would do it all the time when you try to write or read of every correction or collection. I mean, so here you can see rules. Everything read. You can read everything, but uses you can also read everything. But here, let's show some other examples. Here you can see that users, you can only read and write if your user is actually your username from Facebook. So when you save the user the first time, you will set these variables. So when your Facebook sets these variables in the front end, it would be the same when it tries to save. And here you can see users, but it would be a very long process defining every user. So here's if you define it with a dollar symbol, it says basically every user in the users collection. So that's how they do security on Firebase. And also here you can see if you wanted something to have a boolean, if it was public or not public, you would have a user. In the user, you would have a variable or your value, which would be the name would be public, or you can then set it to either true or false. So I made I showed here a to-do, which is a to-do app, which is a little more simple because it would just be an array you would push to and receive from. But that would be it would not be the right way to do it, because when you receive from sockets, it would not know which way to order the data. So if you wanted to do like a chat where it's very important that the first message is the top and then the second, you have to use the inbuilt add function. But if you just wanted to use this where they are all unique, you can just use it as a normal object, JavaScript object. But I made this this chat app, as you can see here. It uses it's just a factory where we have this Firebase, and then a controller, chat controller, where we bind chats to the scope chat, and then we have an add function, and it would look something like this. So we will write your name and your message, and it would populate to all the clients who have opened the Firebase socket. So, but you would think like, how? Yeah, it's all front end and it's all sockets, but it's an easy way to get all the data from the backend if you wanted to do like checking and such. Yeah, yes, they also made a REST API, of course. and it looks something like this. If you wanted to just get all the information from all the collections, you would do this, and you get. Yes, of course. And then I delete it. And as you can see here, it had made a uniquely ID, but it's just a JavaScript object called chat, and then it has unique names, and I defined message, which was myself. I did define myself and name myself, so it's very, you don't have to specify beforehand that you want a name or message or a password or email. You just define it from the front end and you're fit to go. So, but you can also like do put request or post request. So here I'm trying to do a post request with the name Jack, message hello from REST to my yeah. But it would probably post a lot of times. But here, and you can see here in the Firebase dashboard, they call it Fort. As you can see here, hello from REST. You can probably also see it from here. So very easy to communicate with Firebase from either front end, back end, and they also made all these kind of libraries. So I think it's a good solution if you wanted to get started really fast with real time, but it also is a project that you can go on and use later. It's not a prototype. You can also use it actually in production. So that was basically Firebase. Yeah, any questions?